Mr Speaker, I beg to move that leave be given to bring in a bill to make administrators and moderators of certain online forums responsible for content published on those forums, to require such administrators and moderators to remove certain content, to require platforms to publish information about such forums and for connected purposes. On the 18th of June 2017, Darren Osborne drove a van into a crowd of people gathered outside a North London mosque, killing one man and injuring 12 people. He had also been intending to murder the Leader of the Opposition and the Mayor of London. Just 1 month earlier, Osborne was a different person with no history of extreme ideology or beliefs. His ex-partner claimed he had been radicalised in just 3 weeks. The ground was laid by his mental health problems, long-term unemployment and alcohol abuse, but the catalyst was a television drama about grooming gangs in Rochdale, which, having seen it, led Osborne to spend the next 3 weeks consuming anti-Muslim extremist propaganda online, including sources from Tommy Robinson and Britain First, after which he was ready to kill innocent people. Whether it's inspiring domestic terrorism, young British people being pulled into fighting for terrorists overseas, or facilitating the resurgence of the far right, online radicalisation is a frighteningly dangerous process which we are not currently equipped to counter. Moreover, the spreading of hate, racism, misogyny, anti-Semitism or misinformation, knowingly and without any accountability, is dangerous and is having a profound effect on our society. Our newspapers and broadcasters and other publishers are held to high standards, yet online groups, some of which have more power and reach than newspapers, aren't held to any standards, nor are they accountable. It's about time the law caught up. This bill is an attempt to make one step towards putting that right. It would make those who run large online forums accountable for the material they publish, which I believe will prevent these forums from being used to spread hate, disinformation and for criminal activity. It also requires and stops groups from being completely secret. Most of the examples I will use in my speech relate to forums or groups on Facebook. As the most popular social media platform, it is therefore the subject of most research and press coverage on this issue. Facebook groups range from a few members to hundreds of thousands and are run by administrators and moderators charged with upholding Facebook's community standards. There are groups set up to help old school or university friends keep in touch and for people with a common hobby or interest to come together for the first time. But there are also numerous examples of these forums being used for utterly appalling ends, and deliberately so. One such group is the Young Rights Society, run by a Breitbart journalist and uncovered by Hope Not Hate. The charity revealed the group was frequently awash with appalling racism, white supremacy, jokes about the Holocaust, and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. It was also used to organise members for events. Because it was set to secret, it was only exposed when one member alerted the charity to its existence. It's not only racism that's allowed to thrive on these forums. Marines United was a secret group of 50,000 current or ex-servicemen from the US and British militaries. Members used the forum to share nude photos of their fellow service women, described by a whistleblower as revenge porn, creepy stalker-like photos taken of girls in public, talk about rape and racist comments. That it was allowed to grow to a membership of tens of thousands before anyone thought something had to be done demonstrates the need for greater transparency. Research by Professor Jen Goldbeck of the University of Maryland shows that members of online forums feel at risk of becoming a social pariah in closed groups if they report objectionable posts, and so they don't. It's the format of these forums that makes their members become normalised to their content. People will receive far more likes for a post to a group, which will be seen by a far wider audience than posting something about their personal life on their own page. But any posts which go against the grain will result in harsh criticism and potential exclusion from the group. This can have a profound effect on society's attitudes on a number of issues. Many of the people in these forums won't have joined because they agree with its most extreme content. But if you're regularly reading posts espousing unacceptable or wrong content which is going unchecked, it can alter your own perceptions. And there are already several examples of these forums having troubling effects in the real world. Canada's largest far-right organisation started as a Facebook group on which Islamophobic conspiracies were circulated. The claimed Islamification of Canada was criticised, and members were encouraged to send pigs' heads and blood to mosques, plans which were then carried out. The most disturbing example I've come across has been a forum of 8,000 parents of autistic children here in Britain. It's the sort of Facebook group of how people can bring people together in a difficult situation to share their experiences, but it was being used in a truly horrific way. Members told the groups that giving their children so-called bleach enemas would cure their autism. Several parents carried them out and then shared images of what they believed to be parasites, which were in fact the children's bowel linings, leaving their children after the process. The group's secret setting Autistic Society were locked out until one member contacted the police. One thing we do know is that social media companies cannot be relied upon to monitor and regulate these forums themselves. They've proven this time and time again. The Russian Internet Research Agency's action in the lead-up to the 2016 US presidential elections show how these forums are an open door to our democracies. Our political parties are also struggling with the phenomenon too. Abusive and hateful views and misinformation about politics or politicians can quickly take hold unchallenged, and unacceptable views become normalised, such as anti-Semitism or violence as an appropriate political tactic. What I'm not talking about here is censorship or small private gatherings, but accountability for powerful and large-scale publishing and sharing. Social media can be a wonderful thing which brings people together who may otherwise never have met. There is no reason why that can't be maintained, while at the same time regulating the space to prevent its abuse. So far, we've largely left the online world as a lawless Wild West. If 1,000+ people met in a town hall inciting violence towards a political opponent, or racism or hate, we would know about it and we would deal with it. The same is not said of the online world. Figures from the House of Commons Library showed that in 2007, 498 people were convicted under the Communications Act of 2003 for sending grossly offensive messages. After a decade in which social media has become a prominent part of most people's lives, this figure has nearly tripled. However, the Act they were convicted under was passed in 2003, before Facebook even existed. Stalking and harassment represent 60% of online crime overall. However, despite the increase, online hate crimes are still rarely prosecuted and largely go unreported. Our laws desperately need to catch up. Today, I'm proposing a small step, establishing clear accountability in law for what's published on online forums, forcing those who run the forums to no longer permit hate, disinformation and criminal activity. I commend this bill to the House.
Order. The question is that the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Who will prepare and bring in the bill?
Nicky Morgan, Robert Halfon, Robert Neal, Mr David Lammy, Anna Soubry, Mr Jacob Rees-Mogg, Ruth Smeeth, Luciana Berger, Stella Creasy, Jess Phillips and myself, sir.
Not by each other.
Lucy Powell.
Online Forums Bill.
Second reading what day?
Friday the 26th of October.
Friday the 26th of October. Thank you.